So I'm going to show you my finances and expenses for the business and also personal expenses, and just kind of show you a little bit of why I'm in the red and what it's going to take for me to get out of the red. And then in the next video, well, in another video, I'm going to also share with you my plan to go from where I am towards 7 figures, at least the next steps that I know the Lord has given me so far. So I'm going to share that with you as well. But before I jump into the numbers and show you my computer and what's there, one of the things that the Lord was sharing with me this morning, and it just kept kind of repeating in my ear this morning as I was waking. It was, to whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. And I'm like, I know that's not just Spider-Man reference. That's in the Word. So I looked it up in the Word, and it was just really this revelation to me that, you know, we want the finances and all the things. I know, you know, that God has for me to be a multimillionaire and to help his people and things. But in order to fully take on everything that he has for me, I have to understand that much will be required. And so why is it that we feel like, you know, we can have all these dollars and do all these things for the Lord, but that much is not going to be required from us, right? That whether it's requirement as far as sacrifice, like kingdom sacrifice, not the way the world tells us to sacrifice, right? That there aren't going to be parts of ourselves that we have to crucify and die to in order to receive all that it is that he has for us, that we have to put his will, his kingdom, and those things first before our own desires, and that is going to be required of us. And it was just really this revelation for me. I just want to encourage you to sit with the Lord with that verse. You know, I think about wanting the money. I think about wanting the thousands of women that he has for me to be a part of my business and in my business. But do I want the responsibility of that? And so that's the thing that we really have to understand, that to really walk into everything that the Lord has for us, there is a level of responsibility that we have to be ready for. And so we have to truly ask ourselves, is that a level of responsibility that I'm ready for? Whether it's the money, the people, the size of the business, and everything that comes with that. And if I'm really honest, then I have to say, in some ways, no, I'm not ready for that. And thank goodness for God's grace that he knows that. And so I don't have it quite yet. That's a part of this refining and pruning process, is that he's getting you ready, not just to steward what it is that he has for you, all the money, all the people, but just to also get you ready for the responsibility that is going to be required, because much will be required of you. So I just want to encourage you to sit with the Lord and sit with that verse and really ask him, like, Lord, in what ways am I not ready for this level of responsibility? And just be honest with yourself and be honest with him, because he already knows, right? So be honest with yourself. Like, am I truly ready to steward the 7 figures? Am I truly ready for the responsibility that's going to come from having the 7 figures, or having the thousands of people in my business, or thousands of customers in my business? And just be really honest with that. If the Lord gave it to you, everything right now, instantly, do you have the systems in place to be able to take care of that? Do you have the management skills to be able to manage the people on your team? Do you have the personal, emotional intelligence and things to be able to deal with all that comes with managing that amount of people? You know, are you shed of the people pleasing and just willing to do what he says and not allow it to affect you and who you are? Like, is your identity and your worth truly rooted in Christ and not in people and validation from people? So those are things to consider. Are you ready for the responsibility? Because to whom much is given, much is required. There's going to be a lot that's required of you at that level. And are you really ready for it? So that was just something the Lord was giving me. I wanted to share before we jump into the numbers. So let's go ahead and take a look at my expenses and where I'm at. Okay, let's talk numbers. I'm going to share my screen and show you what it costs for me to run the business right now, and also just what my personal expenses are. So you can really see where I'm beginning and why I am currently in the red. All right, so let's hop over to the screen and talk about it. Okay, so these are my current business expenses, and I'll kind of take you through them. And when you start a business, you actually, if it's like a coaching business, online business, you don't even need all of these expenses. You really just need a way to meet your clients and a way to process the payments. That is it. So you can start with that. You don't need a website. You don't need all the things. You just can market, and that's really the minimum 2 things that you need if you have a service-based business like that where you're meeting with clients. And so I just want to say that because sometimes we think we need all the things to get started, and so we use that kind of as this subconscious way to procrastinate. And so I just want you to know that. So you don't even need all these things. So what I have here is ConvertKit. That is my email provider. Mighty Networks is where I host my membership coaching community. Typically, I paid this online up until last month, where I switched to monthly because I didn't have enough to pay for the full year. But once I do, I will be switching this back to yearly because it does save money to do it for the year. It's about $11.80 for the year instead of $119 a month. So you essentially save about 2 months. So I'll be switching that back. And a lot of these I would switch to yearly because usually you save money when you're doing it for the year instead of monthly. Spark, Plaid, Quicksilver, those are actually credit cards that I put business expenses on. So when I didn't have enough money last year, I was using the credit cards to put a lot of the business expenses on, and because I didn't have the money, to pay them off, so accumulated. And so those 3 are really maxed out, those 3 credit cards. Namecheap is where I pay for my website hosting. Also, I get my domain names through them as well, but that's for website hosting. ManyChat is what I use to respond to comments on social media when someone's requesting a link for something. So not responding where, they're saying something and so it's responding back like conversationally, not for that. But if someone wants the link to register to my workshop, they comment a keyword and then ManyChat automatically sends them that link in their DMs. So a lot of people use that. If you find like people saying comments XYZ word, that's probably what they're using, ManyChat. So that's $15 a month. ChatGPT, this I just upgraded last month, either March or April, that I just upgraded ManyChat. So I'm paying for the pro version right now. So I use that. I will write out content, sales pages, things like that, and then after I write it out, put it in ManyChat just to kind of clean it up. So I do use ManyChat for that. I also use it, I actually had it help me make a schedule for myself. So I'll use it kind of those ways, like the way I would use an administrative assistant for now. So I use it for some of those things as well. So that Adobe, this is a suite of products. So it has the video editor that my son uses. It has a photo editor, as well as whatever all the other Adobe products are. So that's what that is. Spotify is, it's on here twice because one is for me and the other is for my son. So Spotify is on here. I use it in business when I do Zooms, so that's why I pay for premium, so the ads aren't running. Safa, this is actually Go High Level, so that's where I have some courses and products and things, so I use Safa for that. So that's $33 a month. Epidemic Sound is $18 a month. That's for my son for his YouTube channel. I used to also pay for it when I had my weight loss YouTube, when I was sharing my journey, but I'm not doing that now, so I don't pay for it now, so that's just for him. Calendly, this is really helpful when you're first getting started, if you're servicing clients, to give them the link so they can schedule Zoom calls or whatever you're meeting with them. So if you want to start with something, that would be something good to start with. It's only $10 a month. It's a great scheduling tool, and it'll even you can sync it to like your Google Calendar, so it puts it on your calendar automatically for you. So that is really helpful. And then Prime, this is Amazon Prime, $15 a month. In video, and then Opus Clips. These are two things that I actually just started with for this month. And you see the total for those two are $50 a month. This is for a new project that I'm doing for a faceless channel that I'm trying out. And so we'll see how that goes. So depending on that, I'm gonna try it for at least 3 months, but if it's not working out very well, then I will probably get rid of InVideo, but keep Opus Clips, because I could still use that on my main channel that I use for business to clip out things from the podcast episode or just the episode or whatever to post on social media. So if nothing else, I'll still have Opus Clips even if I don't have InVideo. But for right now, I do have both of those. And again, that's that Spotify. And then the last thing here is Zoom, which I use weekly, so for business, and that's about $16 a month. So taking in all of these things, the total for these expenses are about $595.60 a month. $595.60 a month. And so it's really minimal for what it would cost for an online business. However, if you don't even have that $600 a month, then yeah, it's going to be a challenge to be able to cover that. And so that's why I said, you don't think you need all these things to get started in your business. You don't. You can really get started, especially if it's a service-based business, coaching, consulting, anything like that. You can get started with nothing, and just your brain and your body and following what it is the Lord has for you to do, because you just need a way to meet your clients. There's Google Meet, Teams if you have it, so you don't even have to pay for Zoom necessarily. And then also you just need a way to process payments. And so there's Stripe and PayPal and things like that. And they don't cost you money, they don't cost you like monthly. They get paid when you get paid, so they just take out their processing fees. So like I said, the total for that monthly is about $595.60, but I do have some expenses that come up yearly as well. Like I said, for some of them, I will switch over to yearly instead of paying monthly. So these few things I do have yearly. And so like I have Canva, and that's $120. I have Podbean, which hosts my podcast, for $108. There's the annual filing report for my business, which is $104. I do have Google One because I have so many photos and videos and things like that. So that's $20 a month. I have a PO box that I pay twice a year, so that total for the year is $192. And then my website, where I'm hosting like the link for people to get my book, that is $48.88 a year as well. And then I have a bunch of domain names that I pay once a year at different times during the year, but in total they come out to about $300 a year. And so my yearly expenses are about $892.88 for the things that I pay once a year. But if you divide that by 12 and break it down, that comes out to about $74.41 a month. So if you add that $74.41 a month to the $595.60, we're looking at about $670 a month. that I have in business expenses. And then I have StreamYard down here because I had StreamYard, but I wasn't currently using it because I wasn't on YouTube anymore. And then also I haven't hosted my yearly summit, so that's why I have it down here, because at some point there will be an additional expense for StreamYard, which actually when I do the summit it's $49 a month, but outside of the summit it's only $25. So anyway, that's down here. So even when you add that in, we're talking $695. So you know, less than $1,000 a month for the business. Like I said, right now we're looking at about $670 a month. But when you actually just look at my monthly, month-to-month expenses, not including the ones that pop up, you know, once a year, that's $595 a month, $595.60, and that's so minimal for what it costs a business to run. And that's for the stage I am at right now. There are other expenses that will be coming up, and I will show you that. But this also does not include, like I said, that's just my regular monthly expenses. This doesn't include like when I have prizes and things that I need to buy for club members. It doesn't include any unexpected expenses that may pop up in the business. This doesn't include paid marketing if I choose to run ads or anything. Also any business programs that I myself want to be a part of, or courses that I want to buy, coaches that I want to get coaching from. It doesn't include any of that. So that adds into that as well. I like to have guest speakers in Holy Girls Club, and so it doesn't include what I give the guest speakers, and that can range depending on what they charge and what they're asking for. Also, other things that I want to have in the business but don't need, like I need a new tripod, I need a new laptop. I have another laptop that was given to me that I'm currently using, but I still need a new laptop as well, besides this one that I'm using right now. And also processing fees. This doesn't include processing fees. Like I said, when you use Stripe, when someone pays through Stripe or PayPal, there are processing fees for that. And so, yeah, so there are these other expenses that pop up, and if you don't plan for them, they can throw you off. And so they really do need to be a part of the budget. But these are those expenses right now where I don't actually have to do these things, and so that's why I didn't include it in the numbers when I was giving you the numbers for what it costs for me to run the business. So yeah, so like I said, right now we're looking at around $600 a month to run the business, which for a business, like I said, is not much at all. And I am glad that it's not very much, because, you know, that would just make it even harder. But the thing, like I said, if you're not making $600 in your business, that money has to come from somewhere, if this is, you know, your expenses too, right? And so if I don't have it in the business, then it has to come right now from personal expenses. And the goal is to make it so that the business covers the business expenses and also the personal expenses as well, so that I can pay myself, right? And so I want to show you a little more of that. And so, like I said, when we're looking at business expenses, when you add in what it would be when we break down the ones for the year as well, it's about $670.01. And then looking at my personal expenses, they're about $1,860 a month. And so right now for the membership and the cost of the membership, and when I think about not having the fee, so my membership is $27 a month. When we take out the processing fees, let's just say it's about $25 a month per member. And so I would need at least 27 paying members in my membership community right now to cover the cost of the business expenses, about 27 paying members a month. And so for my personal expenses, I would need about 74 paying members a month to cover personal expenses. So I just wanted to explain why my personal expenses were so low. Because one, if you remember, I don't have my car right now. It's broken down. So I don't have the auto insurance expense. And also my car was already paid off. So I don't have a car note to pay. And second, my house is also paid off. So I don't have rent or mortgage. And so I am so blessed in that way. So I just wanted to point that out in case you're wondering why my personal expenses were so low. That is why, because I don't have a car payment, car insurance, and I don't have rent to pay either. And so when you add up the two together, that's about 101 paying members to cover the business and the personal expenses. And that's just what I currently am paying for business stuff. That doesn't include the things I want and the other things I mentioned on the side. And so right now I have 18 members that are currently paying monthly, and I have 4 members that pay yearly, so they pay once a year. So I have about 22 paying members currently. So you see, I'm just a little bit shy of what I need for the amount to cover the business expenses, but that's nothing to cover personal expenses at all. And so my very first goal right now is to get to a place where I have 100 paying members in the club. And the thing is, I know that the Lord told me that there would be, the first goal is 1,000 women in the club. I know that there will be thousands in there at some point, and that's something we can talk about. I can just share with you later, as I will share, like what my plans are to grow and what I know the Lord has for the membership and what it's going to look like and all that. I'll share that in another video. But the first goal that I know that He gave me was 1,000 women in the club. And so on the way to the 1,000, the first goal is to hit 100. And then that way it covers the business expenses. It covers the personal expenses. So I don't have to, I don't want to say worry, because I don't worry anyway, because God always works it out. But that way it doesn't have to be a factor with anything anymore once I hit that first goal of 100 paying members. And then the next goal after that I have is to hit 200 paying members. And the reason for that is because I want to hire an administrative assistant, and so that's about $400 a month. And then because I already know like who it is and what she charges. And then I also want to pay some team members that help me, and just about $1,500 to start with. That's not what I want to fully pay them, but that's about $500 a month for each of them to start for helping in the membership community. And so this doesn't, also I have like other income that comes in from the book, from a couple things I have on Etsy, from Spreadsheet, and I didn't include that in here because it's not related to the business really. The book kind of is, but those expenses aren't, and they are also very minimal. I mean, we're talking like less than $100 because I don't promote the book that much right now. And then Etsy, I don't promote at all. Spreadsheet, I don't really promote. And also the merchandise that's purchased from Spreadsheet, the profits I use towards Whole and Holy Girls Club for the prizes and things like that to help cover that cost. Also for any philanthropic things that we want to do, any donations or anything like that. So that's why that's not included in here. But that is basically the expenses and things. And so I do want to talk about a little bit of how, why I'm in the red and why I don't have what I need to cover, especially when I know that the Lord has given me this business. And I kind of talked about this in the previous video where I was sharing my story of how I got up to this point right now and how I started the business. But one of the things that I mention is just because I wasn't fully doing what the Lord wanted me to do. And so even in this past year, when I finally was like, okay, I'm going to do this business and do what it is that the Lord wants me to do, I still wasn't doing it how he wanted me to do it. And so last year there was a lot of refining for me. There was a lot of really getting in alignment with dropping what the world says and how the world says I should run my business, and how the world says what the world says I should do for the business for it to be successful. I had to drop a lot of that and just really focus on what the Lord was telling me and the instructions he was giving me. And yes, there is some wisdom in listening to people that have gone before you, but if the Lord is telling you to do something contrary to what they're saying, then guess who you need to listen to? We're going to listen to the Lord, because ultimately this is his business and this is his gift to us. And so we need to listen to him and go to him for what the instructions are. So even though I had finally started doing what he told me to do, I still wasn't doing it yet how he told me to do it. And so that's one reason that it seemed like there was this lid in the business. Like I usually will be around like I would get to this point, like I said, 40 women join, but then some would leave and I would have a challenge, and about 47 women would join, and then, eventually some would leave, which that's fine. That's just business. But it's like there seemed to be like this lid. And a part of that was because I wasn't fully doing how the Lord wanted me to run the business. Also, it was just starting and I didn't have money to put things in place that I wanted to put in place, which I'm doing that now this year. But that's something that's going to help with growth in this year. But yeah, so not just doing what he wants you to do, make sure you're doing it how he wants you to do it, regardless of what people say. Because we can't just do business the way everyone else does, especially when it's a God-given business. And so we have to be really mindful of that. And so that was the thing for me. I was trying to do things my way, trying to do things the way everyone else told me to do them, instead of going to him and getting the instructions from him. And the other thing is I just wasn't stewarding money well. And so, like I mentioned, I ended up like running up the credit cards and things because I wasn't managing money well that the Lord had given me before. And so he had given me some money at the end of like 2023 that would have helped me to cover the expenses throughout 2024. But and I'm saying we, but I'll speak for myself. Like I would get to this place where it's like, oh, but I know I'm going to be successful. I know I'm going to have more money coming in. And so instead of storing away like the ant, like it says in scripture, instead of storing away for later, then I would just like, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and invest this money in this thing because I know I'm going to make more money later. And it's not like I was just spending it on terrible things. Like it would be that I'm investing in a business program because I felt like me doing that program was going to give me the key that I needed to move forward in the business. And so I would do that, and I would invest in different coaching, and I would invest in different business programs. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I didn't learn from those things, but if the Lord isn't leading you to do that, then it could I don't want to say be to your detriment, because it's not like it was detrimental. But the thing is, like I was putting money in those things when the money really could have been used towards something else. And so it could just be that it's just not the timing for you to do that. And so I would invest in different programs because it's like, oh, I finally had the money now to do these things. So I would invest in programs and invest in coaching. And so I was doing that, and I did learn, but it still wasn't what I needed to get me where I needed to be, because it wasn't necessarily what the Lord told me to do. And really the thing that I needed was not that program necessarily. It was something that he needed to do through me to help me to get to that place, to be the person that I needed to be, to hold the responsibility, to not procrastinate any longer, to be willing to follow his lead when he was telling me to do something. And so really those were the things that I needed in order for me to get to the place of success that the Lord has for me. It wasn't another program. It wasn't some secret key that they had. And again, don't hear me as saying that those things aren't helpful, that coaches aren't helpful, that programs aren't helpful, courses. I'm not saying that. But don't just invest in it because of the hype behind what the person is saying. Really take it to the Lord and ask him, like, Lord, is this actually for me? And if this is for me, is this for now? Because he will lead you to some coaches. He will lead you to some programs that there is something that that person holds for you that's going to unlock something for you. But don't just do it out of the hype and out of the excitement. Make sure it's really what he's leading you to. And so I spent thousands, ultimately, when you add it all together, on those things in business. And so that's one reason. It was just, not doing things his way. And then also, like I said, just not stewarding the money well. And then even so, what would happen as I was getting money coming in throughout 2023, then 2024, excuse me, it was just kind of playing catch up from the bad stewardship before that. And so I would always find myself in this position of trying to catch up and trying to get back in zero, trying to get out of the red because of poor spending habits. And so, so I just wanted to be, share that with you. And I hope that's helpful for you so that you're not making the same mistakes. And if you are, that maybe that's a wake-up call to help you realize what you're doing so that you can correct it and allow him to lead you and to help you to be a better steward of money. But so how I was making it before, like I mentioned before in the video, like my mom was helping me when she could. And even towards the end of 2022, the Lord was even getting her to where she wasn't helping as much because he wanted me to come to him to know what to do. And so she did end up passing away in June of 2023. So, but I knew at that time, I'm like, okay, I know this just means the Lord's going to be the one to take care of me. He's going to help me. He's going to provide, which obviously he always would. But I knew because my mom was really the only one helping when I needed it, because she was just so supportive of what I was doing, and she knew that I was going to be successful. And so anyway, once she passed, I knew, I said, okay, everything's going to be fine because I know the Lord's going to take care of me. He was already starting to do that, and he was going to provide, and he did. And he still continues to do that even to this day. He still provides. I don't know how he does it, but there's God math that happens, and somehow things are taken care of. I have never, since my divorce, I have never had the water cut off. I've never had the lights cut off. And that's all God. That's all God. And not just because my mom was there to help, because like I said, sometimes he would tell her, don't help. And even now, it's been almost a year at this point almost 2 years, excuse me, since she's passed, because that was 2023. Almost 2 years, and I've never had a problem. I don't want to say I've never had a problem, but I've never had the light shut off. I've never had the water shut off. It would get real close. It would get real close. But God would always come through in some way. But see, that's the thing, and that's what I'm talking about with getting to this point of having 100 members in the club. Like, at some point, don't we get tired of being like, Lord, 911, SOS, I need your help, right? And a lot of it was because of bad stewardship. And so that's on me. And so it's like I'm looking for God to bail me out of things when I'm the one that got me in that situation. Because when I would look back a lot, I had the money to cover it. But because I wasn't stewarding it well, then I would end up in this place where now I'm like 911, Lord, help. Help bail me out of this situation that I got me into. And he was like, I already gave you the money for that, but you didn't steward it. So it wasn't that I didn't have enough or wasn't making enough or whatever. It was because I was a poor steward of what he had given me, because he had given it to me. And when I go back and look through the finances, I'm like, I had enough. I had enough to sustain me for an entire year while I built the business. But I didn't steward it well. So hopefully that helps you. So anyway, like I said, I do have some, other ways that I would have income coming in. I had created a course. I have some digital products that are really like low ticket things. So at times I would kind of market them. Like if I saw I needed like money for something, then maybe I would start marketing those things. Also, like I needed money at times, like for a trip or something like that, and not like a vacation, but like for a business trip. And so maybe I would drop like a group program or something of that nature, or like I did the course, and so then I promote that, and so that would help to generate money. But the thing is though, if you are doing something like that, and this was me, where it wasn't God led, what happens is that it got me to this place where I would do that thing to generate the money, but then it's like, okay, well, I have the money, but now I actually have to show up and serve and fulfill this thing that I just promoted. And because I was out of alignment and I was just doing it for money because I needed the money, so serving mammon, then I wasn't fulfilled, and I didn't really like doing the thing. And again, it wasn't about the people. I love the people, but I didn't want to do the thing because it was me trying to strive and trying to get money for something I need, instead of going to the Lord like, Lord, how can I do this in a way that you want me to? I hope that makes sense. So anyway, so those are just some of the other things I would do: the digital products, launching programs or courses or whatever, trying to make money when I needed it. And so just real quick, like I mentioned, I want to get to this place where I'm able to hire an admin. That would really be like my next hire, my next thing I want to do, and also pay the team. And so for the majority of the time, so for 2024, the majority of that, all of 2024, I was running the business alone, and the Lord kept highlighting people to me. And I did not want to ask them to help me because I knew I couldn't pay them. And he kept impressing it upon me. And finally, at the end of the year of 2024, I finally reached out to 3 people, and I told them to pray about it. I let them know, like, I can't pay you right now. But I told them to pray and see how the Lord leads them. And all 3 of them, after taking time with the Lord, and it was different amounts of time for each of them, came back and said yes, that the Lord told them yes to do this. And so I have 3 volunteers that are my team that help me in the community. I love them so much. I appreciate them. And one of the things, the vision that the Lord had given me, was that it was like a vision of, when they said yes, of the 4 of us, like we had all 4 corners of this thing. And I don't know what those things are called, but like you carry people on them and you hold it over your shoulder. But anyway, but now it was like me dragging it. And when they came along, each of them could pick up the other 4 corners. And it was basically like, the Lord sitting on top of this thing, and we were running with it. And so, because I needed the help. And so that was the pace that now we can move faster in growing this business, because I'm no longer doing it alone. And yes, I was always doing it with the Lord, but now that that he brought more people to physically help me carry the weight of this business. And so that was such a beautiful thing. And they really love the community. They love the women in the community. So I'm so thankful for them. So like I said, I want to be able to give them some money, pay them for helping me. And even starting at $500 a month, it's better than zero. But, you know, obviously it will be more money later. But I'm so thankful to them that they were willing to just volunteer and help me grow this thing that the Lord has for me to grow. And so I'm the one doing things on the outside, and then they help me on the inside of the business with managing the community and doing things inside the club. So I'm so thankful for them. Yeah, so I think that is pretty much it. So I think that's it. So that's my expenses. Oh, I did want to show you. Let me pull this up. I wanted to show you what I was making before, and it did increase in 2024 once I finally was obedient to what the Lord said. So let me show you that. And so this is what my total was from 2023. So it was 2,580. I just had a couple of clients, and then I was still, well, I had just finished doing my dance fitness, so I wasn't doing much of anything that year, just really still trying to figure out how to grow and how to do this business, because really, remember, I wasn't doing what he was telling me to do. I didn't really start doing what he told me until the end of October, and then I launched when he gave me the community. That was in January of 2024. So this was 2023. And then you see the difference here. This is 2024. And so this is when I actually did what he told me to do. And you see the difference here in 2024. It was $16,204 versus the $2,500 from the year before. So that's the power of actually doing what the Lord wants you to do. And that was even still without me fully doing it how he wanted me to do it. But you see here, this was me actually finally doing the thing that he told me to do. And so that was $16,204. And then so far for this year, it's $4,298. And so, like I said, that includes other things that I've done to like make additional money, for money to come in. Like I had a challenge earlier this year, and this also doesn't include the little bit that comes in from the book sales, because I'm not marketing the book right now, and from Spreadsheet and Etsy. And so this is just what's coming in here. So it doesn't include the little bit that comes in through the book sales. And actually I'll show that. And so this is just what's coming in here through Stripe. So like if I have course sales, if I have sales from digital products that I'm selling or trying to promote at the time, besides also the money that comes in from the membership. So that stuff comes through here. And this doesn't include like the $1 or $2 every once in a while that comes in from Etsy. And it doesn't include what comes in from Spreadsheet, because like I said, most of that I'm using for the club directly. But this is just any sales from the community, from courses that I promote, or from digital products. So this is where we are so far for this year. So yeah, $4,298 gross so far for the year. And I will show you the book sales as well, just to give you an idea of what that is. And that's without me promoting it right now. When I promote it, obviously I make more sales, but I'm not promoting it. It's just kind of there. The book's always behind me. The link is always usually available. So just as people kind of trickle upon it, then that's when they buy it. So let me show you that. And so this is the sales that I make through Amazon. And so people will find it through Amazon as well. But if you are a self-published author, and even when you have a publishing company, they still have you market the book. But really the sales is going to be up to you marketing. Yes, people will find it through Amazon, through recommendations and things like that. But so you see, so far this month, I've had one sale. But just to give you an idea, so you see, like in April, there was $7 here. In March, there was 21. In February, $10 here from Canada, and then also about 42 in the US. In January, 27, December, 21. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what the book sales look like. See here in October 2024, there was 120. I think I was promoting it back then. That's probably why there was so many there. That I had something going on at that time. But anyway, yeah, so see, there's money that kind of trickles in here as well through Amazon. And I do also have the book on Barnes and Noble. It's also being sold through this other company. I can't think of the name, Draft to Digital. So it's available in libraries and things like that. But the amount of money, I haven't had any money yet come through Barnes and Noble selling it. And then also the Draft to Digital, that company, I've only made like a couple dollars. The majority of my sales, like 99%, comes through Amazon. So that's why I just wanted to show you that there. And then if I happen to go to an event, like I was a speaker at an event last September, I mentioned that, where I was an online speaker, or did I? But anyway, I was an online, one of their virtual speakers, not in person. So, but I still was at the event, and so I had a table. I could sell my books. So, you know, like I do have the ability to sell some books in person as well if I go places. So there's money that can trickle in that way as well. But that is it. That is it. So that's the expenses. That's how I have money coming in. That's kind of how I've been making stuff work so far. So I hope that was helpful for you with kind of seeing some of the behind the scenes and the expenses. I will continue to share as the business continues to grow, so you can see when we're finally in the green, when we finally are at that point where I do have enough to cover not just business expenses, but also the personal expenses, because right now the money is very much intermingled and intertwined, because at times I'm using business to pay personal, and I'm using personal to pay business, just because of when like the bills kind of flow in and the money flows in. But please know that that is not the way that you want it to be. The business should be separate money, and the your personal money should be separate. But still, you want to be able to pay yourself through your business, especially if that's your only income, right? And this is my only income right now. And I will get into jobs and things like that when we talk about what my plan is going forward. But I just wanted to take a moment to show you the expenses and the money and the things behind the business. So I hope that kind of helped you to have that little behind the scenes look, because I know not everybody shares that type of stuff. But I want to take you on this journey with me, because one day we will look at this and it'll all be green, and there will be overflow, and I will have additional money to be able to not only grow the business in more ways in the things that I know the Lord has for me to do, but also to increase in giving and increase in moving his kingdom forward. So I'm excited for that day, and I believe that it will come sooner than I think. So anyway, I hope you have an amazing, amazing, blessed day, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.